Hey guys, in this video I wanted to share a few more lessons I learned about making and managing money as a software engineer, how to make more of it and what to buy with it. In my career, I was an early employee at a startup with a successful exit, and then I started at Kahoot almost as an early employee, but because it's worth over $1 billion today, it's still a good deal for me. But regardless, I always had a side hustle in addition to my main job. And looking at my bank account today, and also looking back at some of my past experiences, I compiled a few stories and lessons that I want to share with you, so while I'm coding my maybe next software as a service project on yet another rainy day here in Oslo, let's talk money. Now, this might sound a little counterintuitive since I just told you I worked as a software engineer my entire career. However, not all software engineers work for a software company. A lot of them work for banks, publishing companies, HR companies, and so on. When I just started my job at Kahoot, which is a software product company, I was having a coffee with a friend of mine who also recently started his job as a software engineer, but at a publishing company. And I remember his salary was dramatically higher than mine at the time, and we came from the same university. I was even better qualified in many respects because of my previous startup experience. For a moment, this kind of hurt me. Then, sometime later, another good friend of mine started working as a software/data engineer at a big bank. Again, much higher salary than mine, and again, same experience. And actually, this friend worked at the same startup as me before. And now this got me thinking, why is this happening? It turns out that the closer you are in your job to your quote-unquote passion, the more likely you are to be underpaid. Let's look at the game industry, for example. They traditionally work the hardest, and yet traditionally they're paid the least. Why is that? Well, it's because of supply and demand. There is never a shortage of game developers who want to work in the game industry. On the other hand, not a lot of software engineers are passionate about working at a bank. Very few actually apply for such a job. But if you are a capable engineer at a bank, solving some real-world problems for people around you with clever and efficient internal tools, or maybe building data models and similar, you'll be held in very high regard by your coworkers who might not be tech savvy. All of those factors will dramatically increase your compensation. Something to think about. But okay, moving on. Oh man, this is a big pet peeve of mine. Apart from coding, I'm very interested in finance, and so I watch a lot of content around this in my free time. And I see a lot of those quote-unquote financial gurus preaching this one bullshit idea. Make your own coffee at home, don't buy coffee at Starbucks. They are ripping you off. Do you know what it costs to produce that $5 coffee? What a load of crap. Look, I understand some people might be struggling financially right now, and in that case, yeah, this advice makes sense. I've been there before, I know. But for anybody with regular income, if that simple daily ritual of going to a coffee shop, getting comfortable, puts you in the right state of mind so that you can sit down and be productive for an hour or so, it's more than worth it. If this is what helps you write a few more lines of code, send a few more emails, read a few more pages than what you would normally read, the $5 price for that coffee is nothing. We're humans, we're not machines. We need to put ourselves in the right state of mind. In addition, I found that when I started making some meaningful money in my life, I had this urge to go and buy things like a nice car or some big purchase like that to kind of reward myself. But then I realized that if I afford myself a little bit more of a relaxed daily life, maybe today it's a nice coffee, maybe tomorrow I will eat out and save myself from cooking and cleaning for an entire day, I will be equally happy, if not happier, than if I bought an expensive car, for example. And the price of all of those things is nothing comparing to getting a Porsche like this one right here. Allow yourself some leeway with small purchases and you will feel more rested, more inspired and motivated to go out there and do your best work. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, hit the like button and consider subscribing. It really helps me a lot these days and I really appreciate it. Okay, this is a big one. First time I realized how important tools are is when I got the new Mac that I have now. I'm saying new, but it's really a 2021 M1 Pro with 32 gigs of RAM. Prior to that, I had an Intel-based, I think 2019 or something like that model, and I struggled a lot. At work, we have this very large Docker Compose file, and we use it for running integration tests locally when we really need to. And on my old Mac, this whole thing took maybe 25-30 minutes to start, and most of the time it wouldn't didn't even start at all. But then I got the new M1 Mac. Not only does the whole thing start up every single time like clockwork, but it does so in like 3-4 minutes max. No sweat, no heat, no fans, whisper silent. Now that brings joy. Or here's another example. Recently for my YouTube channel, I bought a new microphone. Give or take the whole shebang with the audio interface, the preamp, the cables, the stand, the tax in Norway, it was around $1,000. Now why did I buy this microphone? Is it because it sounds much better? No, at least not for my viewers, because let's face it, most people watch YouTube on a smartphone with more or less shitty speakers. So what's the catch? Well, my previous set of microphones had terrible noise rejection, and I live right next to a construction site, so when I did voiceovers I had to do take after take after take because of random bulldozers passing by or something like that. But now I only ever need one take, and that is worth $1,000 for me. So yeah, if you got money to spend, don't buy a flashy car. Buy the best tools for the job you're trying to do. Tools bring joy. And this also brings me to today's sponsor, Squarespace, which is also a tool, a good and convenient one. I use it to host the pages for my side project, the Window Manager app, as well as my free wallpaper packs. You know, get some simple analytics going, page visits, clicks, browsers, platforms, easy. I can make changes, it auto-saves. I really don't have the time to write CSS. I want to work on my app, maybe even make it profitable, right? And if you're looking to make a website for a project, do yourself a favor, use the link in the description and get 10% off of Squarespace. Look, I know I'm a bit controversial with these titles, but let me tell you another story. A few years back at work we had one of those team building activities and a lunch together, and sitting around the table were mostly young professionals, all developers and designers from my team. This happened sometime in 2021, and naturally the real estate market was glowing hot. Some of my friends bought their first property and others were thinking about buying, and everybody was really excited about the real estate market. The main points of discussion were: why pay rent when you can be paying off your own property? Get the largest mortgage you can. In many countries, if you get a mortgage, you get some tax benefits, especially as a first-time home buyer, and so the larger the mortgage, the larger the tax benefit. And they were all sitting there making back-of-the-napkin calculations on how to buy a place instead of rent. Maybe you could save up to $5,000 a year. But at some point I asked them, guys, we're all capable people. Let's talk about making more money instead of saving. How about some ideas to make maybe extra $100,000 this year? It's not unheard of. And everybody looked at me with one of those faces, ah yeah, Marco with his ideas again. And they went back to discussing mortgages. But I knew for a fact that there are people making over $1 million a year just freelancing in a clever way, or doing YouTube or coaching or selling courses today. So while everybody was focusing on getting the largest mortgage, I focused on increasing my income. And fast forward to today, even with this small YouTube channel that I have, I make much more money than they can possibly save on mortgage or tax deductions or whatever. And I'm doing it with less than part-time effort. So yeah, I'll do a breakdown for you guys of my YouTube revenue when we get closer to the end of the year. And if you're interested to know more about that, let me know by giving this video a like and make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.